Okay, we are live. Yeah, you can find it.
Got it.
Okay. We'll just wait a little bit and see who's able to pop on with us. It should be turned down. If you're watching the replay, welcome. We're glad you're here.
Gail, Sherry, Judy,
Good morning, Gail.
Cassandra,
Sherry, Judy, Cassandra, Robbie.
Sherry Barrett,
Hi, Sherry.
Sherry Berry.
Wow, Sherry. So, good morning, everybody. We're going to have some fun this morning, and I have a special guest with me today, a special assistant. It's LaDonna.
Hello.
This is going to be really fun, y'all. So get ready for some laughter, probably, because we are not together that we're not laughing. We have fun. So she's going to help me just make sure everything goes smoothly this morning, and she is going to watch for comments. And so that way, if you have some questions, you can go ahead and type those in. I won't be able to see your comments, but LaDonna will. So we are so glad you're here. And we're going to have some fun with the In Good Taste Suite today. Okay.
Judy says she's in her PJs and drinking coffee.
Are those your daytime PJs or your nighttime PJs? It doesn't really matter these days, does it? We're just so glad you're here. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. We are using the In Good Taste Suite this morning, like I said. And if you have your annual catalog, it's on page 122, 123, and 124. So that shows all the components in the suite and then lots of samples. But we will go ahead and start off by just showing you some of the components of the suite. So first we've got the stamp set. And believe it or not, we are using all but one of the stamps in class today. So you'll get to see them all in action. And then the Tasteful Label dies. This is an awesome set, you guys. I have already used it quite a bunch. And this is a great standalone set. So if you're just not really interested in the stamp set, it's still great to have these dies in your collection because you can use them with so many different sentiments. So I've already had a couple people just purchase the dies. And so if you purchase the stamp set and dies, you're able to bundle that and save 10%, but you can just get the dies as well. And then we also have an embossing folder in this suite, and it is one of those that just gives a subtle effect, and we'll be using it a little bit later on a card, but it gives just a subtle effect, but it's still one that I really think it's a must-have. It's really, really pretty. And then we have our designer series paper. So we'll just go over this quickly. There's one sheet that I have used up completely, and I'll show you something similar to it. But this is just a beautiful package of paper with so many options for both masculine and feminine cards. Beautiful textures, the wood grain. There's some that looks kind of like tile. There's some, to me, that looks kind of like wallpaper, stone. Just really, really pretty. That has kind of a wash. So you've got your grays, blues, and browns. So it's super easy with all these neutrals to make beautiful cards. Love that one. And you'll notice too that this is like a double pack of designer series paper. So there's 24 sheets in the package. That one's really neat too. And then there are Rococo Rose and Petal Pink in this paper as well. It's something a little bit different than what we've had in quite a while. So pretty. And so the other sheet that I used up all of it is very similar to this kind of tweed pattern. And I don't remember what was on the back, but that just gives you some idea of all the papers in this suite. Really, really pretty. Let us just move some things around right quick. And we'll show you what we're making today. I'm kind of inspired by this card here. That's a sample. And I say inspired because sometimes we case or copy and share everything, or copy and share with edits is what that stands for. Sometimes we recreate a card very closely, but sometimes it just inspires us to do our own thing. And that's kind of what I did today with this first card. So I'll bring it in and let you take a look at it. So it opens kind of a peekaboo card, and let me just get a few supplies out. I'm a little bit organized here. We're rearranging everything. And we'll go ahead and get started with our card. I'll just move that. Thank you. It's so nice to have a wonderful assistant. Thank you, LaDonna.
No problem.
Okay, so this is the card that I created that was inspired by the catalog, but this is not actually the card that we're going to be making this morning, because, like I told you, this is a great suite for masculine and feminine cards. So we're going to make a masculine version of this card. So we're going to go ahead and start with our card base. And this is a fold and opening that I don't typically do, but I wanted to kind of go over the measurements here so you would know. This is still a half sheet of cardstock. So it is cut at 4 1/4. So it's 4 1/4 by 11 and then scored at 5 1/2. And then our next layer. This is, oh, I can't think of the midnight. We're still learning colors. I bet they know. Y'all help us out here. It's the new in color. I can't believe I can't remember the name. It just totally left me. LaDonna too. So y'all help us out here. So this is a piece that's 5 1/4 by 4. No, I'm telling you wrong. It's going to actually fit over the card base. So it is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. And that's where we'll do some stamping. Misty Moonlight. It's hard getting old, y'all.
I did not detest it.
I told you we would laugh. And then this is a piece of designer series paper that we're going to put on the inside of the card, and we will actually stamp our sentiment on it, and it is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. And then we've got some other little pieces, the little scrap that we'll be using to stamp on, and other little pieces. So let's go ahead and get started with our stamping first. I do have the Misty Moonlight. This ink pad was sitting right there, you guys. And that would have helped us. And we're going to go ahead and stamp the feather image from that set. And I wanted to show you something that I learned recently about how to stamp randomly. So we'll ink it up good. And then you kind of stamp in the center and do kind of a diagonal. Couldn't think of the word. Ooh, this is going to be a long class, y'all. Across your paper. Are they still with us, or have they decided this is just too much?
Gail says Misty Moonlight.
Yes, thank you. What is wrong with us? It's not that early. So you see I did the diagonal, and then you just kind of go in and fill in those spots. Because it's hard to stamp in a random pattern. Our brains want it to look kind of symmetrical. So what's great about this is once you get it stamped, you can go back in if there's little holes and put just a little bit. think I'm about to overdo it, so I think I'm going to stop. So there's our stamped piece with that feather. I think it's just really pretty. I can't remember if I need that again. Maybe so. Okay. So that's going to just fit right over the front of our card base. And then we've got our die that we're going to cut out. And through the magic of video, we already have that piece ready to go. So that's what that looks like. So now normally you would want to stamp on your sentiment before you adhere it down, but we are going to live on the edge this morning, you guys. And we're going to go ahead and adhere down the inside panel and then stamp through that die cut. So aren't you impressed with us? We'll see how that goes. And there's a couple ways you could do this. If you don't feel comfortable kind of winging it like we are, you could always use your Stamparatus, your stamp positioning tool. The issue is you really do need to have this adhered in place, I think, so that you get the proper positioning. Now I will say that this is a nice large die cut, and our sentiment is pretty forgiving because of the font that it is, so that's why I feel like we can go ahead and do it this way. So we'll see. I think we've got this. Okay, we've got some early espresso ink. And you know what, LaDonna, somewhere is our chamois. If you don't mind cleaning that stamp for me.
Okay.
So just saying hello is the sentiment that we're going to use. And like I said, we're using early espresso. Ink it up really good. And I love using red rubber stamps, especially for these really pretty fonts. I think it gives you a really crisp image when you stamp. So let's see. Get positioned here. That's good. Okay, LaDonna says that's good. We're going to go for it. It's going to go straight down and lift straight back up. Little pressure for about 4 or 5 seconds to let the ink transfer. And yes, that looks really good. Awesome. We're off to a great start, you guys. Okay, so now, whoop, I closed that ink and I shouldn't have done that. We still need our early espresso ink. And we're going to come back in with the feather and stamp it. And this is a piece of just bumblebee scrap. And that's what we're going to use as our kind of embellishment. But again, through the magic of video, we already have one fussy cut, so no worries, Cassandra. It's already done. I know you don't like that word. So let's go ahead, and here comes the train, LD.
Trusty train. And set your clock by it.
And a little tip, when you're lining this up to run it through the die cut machine, if you make sure that your paper is aligned here at this edge, then when you go to glue it down, you can do that same thing and get a much easier placement. So we're going to come in with some liquid glue. And glue this down. Let us know if y'all have any questions or what you think about this card. And I guess whether you like the masculine or feminine version better. I just wanted you to be able to see that you can do either one with this paper. Looks pretty good. Let that glue dry for just a second. There you go. So now we are going to, oh, thank you, going to put our little embellishment on. And so this is a piece of linen thread. If you'll notice, we have a little fussy bow or messy bow on this card. And then I made kind of the similar thing with this one, but cut the ends, and so that just gives a little bit of texture there. And we will put that on with a glue dot. Hope y'all are having a good day. And I hope you're ready for mystery stamping. If you're not, you still have plenty of time to get your supplies ready. Thought that just added a little bit of interest and texture there. And let's grab some dimensionals for our little feather. And I think what I'll do, probably should move that up just a tiny bit. And I have to take your pick tool, but I'm just going to take those off with my nail. And we'll pop that on. Okay, so there we go. We are done with our very first card. So let me show you how to make this little messy bow or this other little kind of fringy embellishment. You want to take your linen thread and wrap it around your fingers several times. And then what I do is snip that end and then just kind of fold those loops over. And it doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to snip those ends or kind of rough up that little bow anyway. And then I take a little piece and wrap it around. If I can get my fingers to work. I swear it's easier than this. I always make untying a bow look so difficult on camera. And then you're just going to pull that tight. Maybe. Or you're going to tie it in a knot. Alright, there we go. You just pull that tight, and you can move it if you need to. So do that just a couple times and make sure that's secure. And to make this one, I just went in and snipped those ends. And then for the little messy bow, I just kind of rough that up so that it opens those loops. And I think it just looks super cute. So that's a tip for that. And like I said, we're done with our very first card this morning. Oh yes, LaDonna also mentioned we've got the little twig punch.
Did you use for the pink?
Yes, for the Rococo Rose version with the bumblebee cardstock. So just to show you that, what we use on these projects. So hope you like them. Let us know whether you prefer the masculine or feminine version. Just wanted you to see that with the same supplies you can make either card, and I think you're going to really fall in love with this suite. So we are going to leave you for now, and we will be back at 10 o'clock. So if you do not have your mystery stamping supplies ready, go ahead and get those ready. You can find a post that actually has clue number 1 and 2 for you. So we'll be back at 10. Thank you.